everybody, welcome back to Red Zone DFS. We are here on another glorious day. It is August 8th on Monday, and we have the first preseason game out of the way. This week we have the full slate coming at us hot and heavy this weekend, so you know what that means. Obviously, fantasy drafts are starting to pick on up. If you're playing DFS, we obviously have Best Ball that's going via Underdog and DraftKings and a million other sites that are doing it now. As well as obviously all your home leagues. So I wanted to put out our list here of top sleeper wide receivers you should be keeping your eye on this year for 2022 in fantasy. So let's kick it off. Right off the bat, kind of the top guy I have, not top guy, sorry, starting at like number 5, let's say. I have Jalen Tolbert with Dallas. So Jalen Tolbert, he's a third-round pick out of South Alabama this past season. He enters the Cowboys lineup that is seemingly very lean at wide receiver. Now, we'll see what old Jerry does in terms of adding guys in free agency trades. You could see them add a few guys, obviously, as cuts start to emerge here in a few weeks. But look, this is a guy they invested a lot in, a third-round pick to complement CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz, who are seemingly the only reliable pass catchers there in that offense right now. He slides into the option number 3 slot with James Washington going down and going to miss what reportedly looks like a significant piece of the season. Even so, you know, James Washington is not really a guy I was too concerned about. It's a guy who never really cracked the lineup in Pittsburgh, and to think he's just going to step in and fill the Amari Cooper role in Dallas was a little bit odd. So James Washington is now out of the picture. Michael Gallup coming back from an injury. Doesn't sound like he's going to be ready for the first week of the season, and even if he is, he's going to take some time to ramp up in terms of conditioning and kind of getting up to game speed. So that leaves Jalen Tolbert, who's looking very good in training camp. And look, someone's got to fill the void of Cooper and Cedric Wilson leaving. Those two guys combined last year had 165 targets. This offense is not going to all of a sudden go to leaning heavily on Ezekiel Elliott, even though I know they want to run the ball a little bit more, but Dak's still going to let it fly through the air. So yeah, somebody needs to fill that gap, and I think Jalen Tolbert is the guy to look to in Dallas. Moving on here, a guy that is a wily veteran who nobody seems to talk about any season, but I tend to like, and I've been taking him a lot late round in best ball, is Marvin Jones. Very clearly was Trevor Lawrence's top receiver last season. He had 120 targets last year, over 800 yards. The situation should be a lot better, obviously, down there in Duval. With that grease fire, Urban Meyer out of the way, and Doug Peterson leading the charge. I think Trevor Lawrence should look a little more comfortable, more in charge. They have some more weapons. They've added to the offensive line. Look, in a weaker division, I don't see any reason why Marvin Jones can't get you 80, 90 targets at minimum, even with the addition of Christian Kirk this year down in Jacksonville. So don't be so quick to jump to Christian Kirk. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings on him being overpaid, whatnot, whatever. He's there. He's going to be in the lineup. He's going to catch a lot of balls, but I think Marvin Jones has shown, obviously, to earn Trevor Lawrence's trust. I think that leads to a lot of targets again this year, and I think Marvin Jones can be a very good late-round pickup for your receiving corps. Moving on, another guy who seemingly is a veteran with a new team, but always, you know, seems to go under the radar this year is Jarvis Landry. I know everybody is hyped, obviously, with Michael Thomas coming back. You've got Chris Olave down there. But this guy, Jarvis Landry, he's gone over 100 targets most seasons he's played, 70 catches most seasons he's played. He's going to be filling in kind of the slot role for them. He looks great. He looks healthy. I know he had some injury issues the last couple of years, and obviously kind of a wild situation in Cleveland. But he goes down to the Bayou now. He gets to play and work alongside Kamara, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave. He gets Jameis Winston, who I know rolled his ankle this morning. Hopefully he's all right. But yeah, I think Jarvis Landry is another guy kind of in the mid rounds that you can look at to get you, again, 70 to 100 targets. He's probably going to get 60, 70 catches in there, hopefully. But yeah, another mid-round guy. He's going to eat up a lot of targets there, especially in the red zone. I think Jarvis Landry is going to be a guy and really help Jameis Winston, who can get open, especially on third downs and move those chains. So again, everyone's going to flock to Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Kamara. Rightfully so. Those guys are great, but don't sleep on Jarvis. Again, he seems healthy and reliable and should be a strong target for Jameis down there. Moving on, another guy that I actually saw him in person last week at 49ers practice. He looked like he was the best player on the field. I know it's training camp. A lot of those guys like Nick Bosa and Trent Williams weren't really playing. So best on the field is a little bit, take it with a grain of salt. But former first-round pick, notably was in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse last year. Brandon Aiyuk busted out the second half of last year. He ended up finishing in the last 11 weeks of the season, ranked 13th in non-PPR formats. He had over 700 yards and 4 touchdowns in that span with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now he's going to get a quarterback who should run around and create some bigger opportunities, some more explosive plays. I think Aiyuk is going to be a mismatched nightmare when teams have to worry about George Kittle. Deebo Samuel in that running game, he could be the forgotten man that just busts wide open this year and has some huge games with Trey Lance. So Brandon Aiyuk is a guy that I have ranked number 2 right now. As far as my sleeper receivers, he's going kind of 4th to 6th round, I would say, 5th round, 6th round in best ball. Definitely a guy you should have your eye on, and a guy who's going to be in an offense that's going to push the ball more downfield, be more aggressive this year. Make sure you get a piece of Brandon Aiyuk on your teams this year. And lastly, that leads me to a guy, little guy, but I think KJ Hamler is going to have a massive year for Denver. Obviously, we saw the injury to Tim Patrick happen last week. KJ Hamler is someone that everybody's always talked about. Last year he had the ACL injury, but I think with his mold and his speed, he is going to fill, if you want to call it this, kind of that Tyler Lockett type void that Russell Wilson loves. He's a true burner, KJ Hamler. He's a small little guy, but he ran a 4.2 at the combine a couple years ago. He can absolutely take the top off defenses. I think that's going to be the role they carve out for him with Cortland Sutton and Judy kind of working alongside there. But I think Russ still has one of the prettiest deep balls in the league, and you only need a handful of those really to make this late pick worth it for your fantasy teams. So I think KJ Hamler could fill kind of what you used to see with the Philadelphia, kind of a Deshaun Jackson type thing. Again, small guy. He is not a guy who's going to go over the middle and necessarily, rack up a lot of those catches and, bang in the middle. But he is a guy that can absolutely take the top off. And with Russ at the helm now, I think he's a very scary option in that offense. So if you're projecting Russell Wilson to have a good year this year, KJ Hamler has to be considered if you swing and miss and don't get a Cortland Sutton or Judy. Or if you get one of those guys, you can bring it back with him as well. It's kind of a double stack option. So I think KJ Hamler is someone to definitely keep your eye on in fantasy drafts this year as a sleeper. So kind of wrapping up my top 5 list here: Jalen Tolbert, Marvin Jones, Jarvis Landry, Brandon Aiyuk, and KJ Hamler. That's my top 5 sleeper receivers this year. Good luck.